In a world where man and machine merge, where audacious spirit meets the elegant laws of physics, lies the realm of Formula One. This isn't just high-speed adrenaline. It's about mapping the evolution of human potential in racing, where the journey ignites with a simple spark and flies into an explosive display of technological prowess. Welcome to a grand journey that transcends racing. It's about challenging limits, dreaming the unthinkable, and the unyielding pursuit of excellence. From the birth of motor racing to the golden age of the Formula One World Championship, witness how determination ignited a revolution that continues to shape the course of global motor racing and exhilarate audiences worldwide. So, strap in, race enthusiasts. It's time to dive headfirst into the electrifying, heart-stopping world of Formula One racing, the battlefield of legends. Think of it like this: when people have dreams and are determined to reach them, interesting things happen. This is how motor racing came about. The whole tale begins a long time ago, from the moment humans learned to use fire right through the incredible event when a man first walked on the moon. This natural curiosity and desire for knowledge led to exploration and understanding of the world, even driving the crossing of oceans and deep earth excavation. It was this hunger for knowledge that caused the Industrial Revolution and, ultimately, the creation of engines, laying the basis for motor racing. The invention of the combustion engine, a contraption that utilizes fuel to generate power, significantly broadened possibilities. At first, people with money were the only ones who took any interest in these horseless carriages and were seen more as neat gadgets than a practical means of transportation. They were so slow that they would move at about the same speed you'd walk fast. In Britain, they even had laws requiring someone to walk in front of them with a red flag to warn others a car was coming. But even though there were a lot of doubts and the cars had their issues in the beginning, people soon saw that these vehicles really had a lot of potential. The very first motor race that we know of happened in England in the later part of the 1800s, even though there were strict laws about cars being used on the road. Even though it was only a small race, it was a really important event. Meanwhile, in the United States, the first big race that had a prize only had 2 cars competing. But it set the stage for all the big racing events to follow. A key event that changed the landscape of motor racing was when a French magazine organized the Paris-Rouen race. But this was not just about who could reach the finish line fastest. It was a demonstration of how cars could be pushed to their limits in terms of speed, control, and safety. This important event paved the way for future car races. As advancements in car technology came fast and furious, it soon became clear that regular streets would no longer cut it for these high-speed competitions. The need for safer racing arenas became glaringly evident after a tragic accident occurred during the Paris-Madrid road race. The accident clearly showed the dangers posed by high-speed racing on public roads. This marked a turning point when the racing world realized the importance of dedicated racing tracks over public roads. The Aspendale Racecourse in Australia was the first track purposely built for car racing, and it marked a significant milestone in the evolution of motor racing. Even before racing on public roads was stopped, Grand Prix racing was becoming a big deal. The very first Grand Prix race was held on the streets of a city with a big prize for the winner. That's why it's called Grand Prix. This was a time when there weren't many rules about racing, and the car companies had a lot of control. They would race their fastest cars against each other to see who was the best. The idea of having a racing series based on certain rules, or a formula, was thought up in the late 1930s. But we didn't see the start of the first Formula One championship until after World War II. This was the start of a new chapter in car racing history, with a lot of rules to follow and races happening all over the world. After World War II, Formula One racing started and brought some excitement during a tough time. It was more than just a game. It was a demonstration of courage. The drivers, much like the gladiators of the olden days, would put their lives at risk with every twist and turn they made on the racetrack. The very first race was held at the British Silverstone track. which used to be an airfield during the war, but was turned into a racetrack. This is where some of the greatest racing stars came from. Giuseppe "Nino" Farina won the first race, and this paved the way for more champions in the future. Drivers like Farina, Juan Miguel Fanglo, and Alberto Ascari set the standard in the early years of Formula One. They weren't just young and fearless, they were experienced racers who knew what they were doing. They took risks and pushed their cars as far as they could go. In the 1950s, some cars became as famous as the drivers themselves. Alfa Romeo became a top name in racing with their models 158 and 159. At the same time, Ferrari started their journey with their 375 F1 model, and they would go on to be a big name in Formula One for many years. When Maserati joined the race with their stylish 250F car, it was a big moment for Formula One. People loved the 250F for the way it looked and how well it performed. With drivers like Fangio and Stirling Moss behind the wheel, this car became a strong competitor in the championship races of the time. The 1950s wasn't just about great cars. It also introduced us to some fascinating drivers whose stories would become a big part of Formula One history. These drivers came from different parts of the world, each bringing their personal style and bravery to the races. In 2023, the world of car racing is about to make a big leap forward into the hypercar era. This big change will bring in very advanced hypercars that will change how we think about speed and tech in racing. This is a great example of how the racing world is always working hard to keep improving and pushing the limits of what's possible. Hypercars are awesome cars that look futuristic and are made with advanced engineering. These cars are the best when it comes to speed, aerodynamics, and electric power. They're a great example of how the latest in-car tech can work well in high-stakes racing. This is leading to a shift in the racing world towards more sustainability and efficiency without losing the thrill that fans love so much. With hypercars now being part of big racing events like the FIA World Endurance Championship and the 24 Hours of Le Mans, it shows that these cars are really admired and supported around the world. Big car makers such as Toyota, Glickenhaus, Peugeot, and Aston Martin are stepping up with their own hypercars. This is making the hypercar revolution grow quickly within the car racing community and shows how these cars are important for the future of racing. Looking at how road-ready hypercars are influencing their racing versions shows a relationship that leads to rapid advancements in tech that can benefit everyday cars. In keeping with the racing world's approach, the hypercar era is increasing competition and encouraging car makers to break more boundaries. This helps to create a sense of unity in their shared goal of reaching the highest level of car technology. The stories of these pioneers, their machines, and their conquests on the world's most challenging circuits laid the foundation for what Formula One is today. In an era defined by risk and innovation, they set standards, broke records, and inspired a legacy that continues to thrill and inspire. As the world watched, these track titans not only raced against each other, but against history itself, leaving a legacy that transcends time. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like this, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us. So, stay engaged, drive safely, respect the track, and keep the spirit of motor racing alive in your hearts. Until next time, happy racing!